Sometimes I'd have to bring you down to earth too. I know this verse hurts you. I tell you what, I give you advice. I'm feeling nice. Your vices could influence your writing if you weren't biting.
What's up, y'all? This is MagMongoSlade. Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. We'll be talking about AEW Dynamite from June 26th, 2024, in which I talk about the sickos and how Tony Khan does not have any taste. So, the show, in a nutshell, bland. I mean, all these episodes of Dynamite have been really bland. They don't take any chances for real. And a lot of these matches that they're building up for Forbidden Door is just a bunch of garbage. It's just, we got to talk about that show too, I guess. I was going to skip doing a Forbidden Door predictions, but I decided I'm going to do it anyway because I know some of you guys might want to go through it. So for the small percentage of people who might care, I will tack on a Forbidden Door preview onto the show. But first, we start with news and notes. On Collision, there was a video of Jeff Jarrett, and it was explaining his entry into the Owen Hart tournament. Now, I want to talk about this first because there was a lot of discourse around Jeff Jarrett being featured in the tournament, and a lot of people saying that Jeff Jarrett shouldn't be in it. And I am of the opinion that if any wrestler should be in the Owen Hart tournament, one of his good friends should be. If anybody on that roster has the right to support Owen Hart, it should be Jeff Jarrett. I mean, you only got how many people in AEW have actually met Owen Hart? 4, 5, maybe? And Jeff Jarrett is one of those people. So, absolutely, should Jeff Jarrett win the tournament? Clearly not. But he should be in the tournament because you add emotional gravitas to the tournament for him being in it. If anybody has reason to support and want to carry the legacy of Owen Hart, it's Jeff Jarrett, who was a tag team partner of his for a good while right before Owen's accident. Jeff Jarrett deserves to be in there more than anybody else. This argument is pathetic and it's silly. And it goes to show that the AEW fan base, they don't think beyond good matches or whatever they perceive good matches to be. As far as who could potentially be Jeff Jarrett's opponent in that wild card spot, I think because the Young Bucks are involved, it's obviously going to be Hangman Page. But I think the only other option is for it to be Sammy Guevara. But I'm going to go with Hangman Page because he's going to end up being a member of the Elite when he gets back. I don't think they would adopt Sammy Guevara in the same way. Hangman Page is a elevated mid-carder over with the boys, so I wouldn't put it past them to put him in that spot and have him go over Jeff Jarrett just to get the heat. And that's what Jeff's there for. He's not there to get pushed to the very end. Jeff Jarrett shouldn't win the tournament, but he could definitely damn well be in it because he's, I think, more than earned the right to represent his friend in this tournament. All right, let's get into this show. MJF, Daniel Garcia, Will Ospreay. I'm going to truncate this because this thing lasted seemingly forever. MJF's back doing corny promos, but the be-all, end-all of this thing is that Daniel Garcia is very close to MJF's level, according to MJF. And Daniel Garcia thanked MJF for the motivation and the inspiration and the opportunity when he gave him a world championship match. Then he says that now he wants to be the foundation, the backbone, the workhorse of AEW. You don't want MJF to be two-faced here in Buffalo because this is his hometown. MJF then suggested a big money match, Wembley, Daniel Garcia versus MJF. And Garcia looked very excited about this. Then Will Ospreay came out there. Then Will Ospreay talked about how he appreciates Daniel Garcia staying out of the way while he chased this world title dream. And since he was being so patient, He was going to give him a world title match, a double title match next week. The world title and the international title will be on the line at the same time. And MJF's in the corner, kind of seething a little bit. And Daniel Garcia accepted that. So clearly they are setting up this kind of 3-way, 4-way feud here. Swerve is watching this thing. He's offended, upset that, Will Ospreay is offering up title matches. He hasn't even won the belt. He says he doesn't have the strength to carry 2 worlds on his shoulders. This leads us to this very terrible main event, which was not worthy of a main event. I know NXT numbers cratered because of Shawn Spears, right? Yeah, I mean, it just went right into the toilet because Shawn Spears is in the main event. And then Dynamite went and did something stupid. And they put the Gates of Agony in the main event. Come on. Certified jabronis in the main event. You deserve to go lower than NXT, but it's not going to. It's actually going to go up. It's going to go up this week. That's why I didn't talk about how low the ratings were last week. It was obviously an aberration. If it's down near 600 this week, then maybe we need to have a conversation. But like 500,000 or whatever last week, it was a holiday and a bunch of other stuff happened. It's an aberration. In any event, putting the Gates of Agony in the main event, come on, bro. Come on, brother. You deserve to go down to the 500s for that. After the match, Will Ospreay once again pickpocketed Swerve and took the title. Ended up getting jumped because Swerve is sick of that shit. He's tired of Will Ospreay thinking he's the man around here. So he kicked his ass, stood over him after the fact. All right, let's talk about this opening promo. For starters, both MJF and Daniel Garcia decided to wear black jackets. The only issue is MJF actually looked like he filled his jacket out. Daniel Garcia looks like he was wearing his uncle's jacket, his big brother's jacket, his dad's jacket, his grandpa's jacket. He looks like he was wearing Sid Vicious's jacket, Kevin Nash's jacket, the Big Show's jacket. Why was he wearing such a big jacket? Who told him to come out there in that gigantic ass jacket? And Will Ospreay once again looks shaggy than a motherfucker, as usual. He told Daniel Garcia, let's give the people the feeling. Let's give the people the feeling, bro. We want to give them the feeling, bro. I'm like, okay. So, I'm guessing the point here is MJF wanted to be the star of the show. He ended up getting overshadowed a little bit by Daniel Garcia because it was his hometown. And so he decided to co-opt that and promised this bullshit match between MJF and Daniel Garcia at Wembley, which to me makes no sense. Why would MJF, instead of trying to be the world champion or some other kind of champion, want to just wrestle Daniel Garcia in a naked match with no title on the line, nothing on the line? That literally makes no sense. Especially for Wembley. Especially when you got like a bunch of shows in between now and Wembley. I'm going to waste my big Wembley match on Daniel Garcia. Well, if he's holding one of those belts, it'll be fine, but it ain't looking like it so far. I did like the angle of Will Ospreay offering up a championship match, even though he's not the champion, because he's that confident, and so many other people are that confident that he's going to win. So I do like that angle. That angle was pretty good. So that was terrible. It was very long segment. Next, the Blackpool Combat Club defeated Los Ingobernables de Japón. Well, no, they didn't. The match got thrown out. I forgot. So the competitors were Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli, and the match was thrown out, and their opponents were Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, and Titan, who works for CMLF. Last I checked. So things got out of hand. It was a double disqualification. Stuff is everywhere. Tetsuya Naito came out there with his really bad knees to confront Moxley. They had a terrible fight. I mean, the forearms or whatever they were trying to do are absolutely garbage. And it was in slow motion. It was not good. I did watch Josh Barnett's Bloodsport Bushido because I love the Bloodsport brand. I really do. Like, I'm not even memeing on that. I do. I like it. But Josh Barnett and Jon Moxley was in the main event that left to a lot of discourse when Moxley cut a promo afterwards where he was talking about, that this Bloodsport is what wrestling should be. just real fights and real concussions. And everybody was like, oh, that's so disgusting. He's bleeding all over the place. And he was like, for starters, he was the only person on the show, I think, that got color. I think he was the only one. Second, he was the IWGP champion, because of course he's going to win. They were in Japan, so they put him over strong in Japan. Josh Barnett did good business there. And I can't believe that WWE fans are still like, bring back Dean Ambrose. He was so much better as Dean Ambrose. Like, bro, you're like 5 years off of this Dean Ambrose thing. Get over it. He wasn't that goddamn great. I mean, I didn't hate Dean Ambrose, but Jesus Christ. Once the guy has made a decision to leave, let him go. Stop acting like a clingy ex-girlfriend. Get the fuck out of here, okay? He wants to go and blade in Japan. Let him do this thing. We are beyond the callback. He's gone. It's over. He is this now. He is Al Bundy in the ring. That's my problem. He just comes across as exceedingly lazy. He doesn't seem to be passionate. He doesn't seem to be physical. Moxley just looks like he's been coasting for like the last 2 years. Poor Claudio. He's caught up in this thing. But what I really want to discuss is we keep giving Tony Khan all this credit about being a guy who just makes matches. Like, oh, Tony Khan, man, he just tries to make the best matches possible. This guy flew Hiromu Takahashi from Japan to the United States to do a 6-man tag. Now, a lot of people don't know who Hiromu Takahashi is. Well, almost everybody who watched this show knows who Hiromu Takahashi is. Everybody who watched this show probably watched a little bit of the CMLL show. I watched his match with Mystico. They had the building rocking. Hiromu is legitimately one of the best wrestlers in Japan. And Tony Khan would rather use Tomohiro Ishii and Tanahashi. I mean, these guys who are old, broke down, can barely move. Tetsuya Naito, guy can barely move, man. Like, there's so many guys in Japan, and I get what the point is. You know, it's trying to make the Japanese stars versus the American stars. For starters, we always know it's going to go one way. But why not? I thought you were supposed to be like on the cutting edge. You're a message board guy. You're a work rate guy. Hiromu should be one of the dudes you should be using on the show in a singles match. You know, because he's phenomenal. You know, El Desperado is phenomenal. There's plenty of those kinds of junior heavyweight guys who you would think that AEW as a company that is filled with junior heavyweights would be the guys that they will try to highlight. You could throw Hiromu in there with Phoenix, or, well, you have a bunch of other luchadors. You can't really have them, but you could have threw him in there with like a guy like a MJF, or, you know, a Swerve Strickland or a Will Ospreay. They could have killed it. I mean, legit would have kicked ass. But your plan is to throw Tetsuya Naito, his legs is about as bad as Matt Hardy's, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to care about this? Neither Naito or Moxley cares about this match. They're going to sleepwalk through this thing. And then they decided they were going to book Shingo Takagi to wrestle Bryan Danielson on this Forbidden Door show. Look, there's nothing wrong with Shingo. Shingo's tremendous. He's a perfect opponent for Danielson. But Hiromu would have been better. He's younger, swifter, would have had a different kind of match. I get it. Danielson wants to have that bit physical kind of opponent. Then Shingo is your guy. But he could have probably had a much better match with Hiromu. And I'm just looking at this thing purely from the matchmaker perspective. You know, Hiromu not only is more athletic, he has more personality than most of these guys too. And I'm sick of him being brought over here just to do these stupid ass 6-man tags. Why keep flying this guy back across the fucking world to do this stuff? This stuff is stupid, bro. And Teton is not bad either. Poor Claudio. Did I say that? Oh, and Yuta still sucks. I mean, there's no saving him. Can't save him. The Owen Cup, Jay White defeated Phoenix. Then they were confronted by Christian and the Patriarchy. All these people are heels and they're threatening to fight each other. Fine. Just fine. Whatever. Who cares? The Young Bucks, they are upset the Acclaimed beat them with an international object. They said they had big plans for the wild card, and they also suggested that Jack Perry is going to win the TNT title, which I completely forgot about. They're going to have all the gold and all the power. It just sounds so painfully boring, don't they? They suck. The Acclaim came out there, bragged about beating the Young Bucks, said that they exposed them. The Young Bucks then came out there with Okada. Okada says, "Sizzle me, bitch." And the room pops because it's always funny when the toddler's cursing. Then they challenged them to a trios match. Billy Gunn then said, well, I know friends in high places, blah, 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 blah. Here's, Tanahashi. So the Scissor Me Ace is going to take Billy Gunn's spot, I would imagine. So Tanahashi, who can barely move, is going to take Billy Gunn's spot. Look, I know Billy Gunn is like 15 years older than Tanahashi. Probably a little bit older than that. I know Billy Gunn is over the age of 60. I think Tanahashi is probably in his late 40s. So I'm just going to guess about 15 years. But he moves and is in better shape than Tanahashi. I know that's crazy, right? But I guess if you want to have some New Japan representation in pretty much every match, Tanahashi is fine. But again, could have been a great spot for somebody else. But they wanted to do the whole, hey, one more run with Okada and Tanahashi because that's what this audience wants. This audience don't know shit about nothing. They just looking at names. I know that name from the newsletter. Fuck off, you idiot. Mariah May, Toni Storm, and Mina Shirakawa defeated Saraya, Anna Jay, and Harley Cameron. This sucked. The only thing about it that was good, though, was the post-match. And the pre-match. Both were very good. Toni Storm came out by herself for her entrance. It was noted that usually Mariah May comes out with Toni. This time, Mariah May came out with Mina. And they did a little dance routine on the ramp. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I know that they do that sometimes in Stardom and in the Joshi promotion. Sometimes they have a little dance routine they do. Okay. So they came out together. They all holding hands and, the best friends. And Toni is kind of like, ugh, because it's a three-way thing that they got on here. It's a hot lesbian action. And Toni's a little bit jealous. She don't want her girl to get taken. They worked the match, which was basically just an aberration. After the match, Mariah May dances with both of them individually. She dances with Toni first, then she's dancing with Mina. Oh, no, I'm sorry, reverse that. She danced with Mina first, then she started dancing with Toni. While she was dancing with Toni, Mina went and got a wine bottle or a champagne bottle and was going to hit Toni in the head with it. But then Toni ducked and she ended up hitting Mariah May in the head with a champagne bottle. Great spot. Huge pop out of me. I like this. It added a lot of drama. Then from there, Mina started getting real angry. And she had to get held back by the referees while Toni tended to Mariah on the ground. This was good. I like this angle. This is a good angle. It's playing off of the triplet of them. And it's also showing the duality of Mina Shirakawa that you see from the previous week, where she has this kind of sweet and bubbly personality. But underneath that, she's very dangerous. She's going to cave a girl's head in with a champagne bottle. Like, she ain't playing around. All right? She ain't fucking around with these people here. She wants to win that title. Okay, I can dig that. Mercedes Moné went all the way to Mexico to see Stephanie Vaquer. They had a little scuffle after Stephanie Vaquer defeated La Catalina, who used to be Catalina in NXT. She's actually much better now than she used to be. Sometimes people just grow into things. Mercedes cut a promo on this show saying where she flew to Mexico to see her, but she doesn't see Stephanie here in whatever. Oh, yeah, they were in Buffalo. Then she says that she heard that Stephanie's going to be working a match on Collision. She's going to go sit ringside to see it. Okie dokie. This Mercedes thing. Tony Khan swears up and down he's got the best women's division in the world. Really? It seems to consist of three people. Tony, Mariah, and Mercedes. That's pretty much it in terms of your women's division. I don't see too many other people being used. Mina Shirakawa is mostly a Stardom wrestler. Once this whole storyline with these girls are over, she's probably going to be gone. So I don't even count her. Willow was very good, and so is Chris Statlander. But where are they on this show? What are they? I didn't see them on this show. What are they doing? All right, Chris Jericho, the sensei of the sickos. Oh, brother. He says that he came to AEW for the young guys. And I was like, I'm waiting for the Cameron, the Mace, like, pause. I'm here for the young guys. Pause. Somebody say something. Don't just say you here for the young guys. Stella. Anyway, he talks about that's why he brings them into the Jericho Vortex. Again, pause. He says he's going to accept the challenge of Samoa Joe and all these guys. But Brian Keith was injured, so he has to have a new partner. And so they introduced their new partner, and it's Minoru Suzuki. At least that's what they were led to believe. Then the video of Minoru Suzuki plays, and he's speaking in Japanese with subtitles. And it is noted that he doesn't like Chris Jericho, actually, and refuses to be his partner, and instead wants to be his opponent for Forbidden Door, because he doesn't like how weak Chris Jericho's philosophy is. So Jericho was standing there befuddled that he thought that Minoru Suzuki was going to be his friend. It turns out he's not. And then Samoa Joe crashed the ring, and they got into a fight with the Learning Tree. This is all very stupid. All very dumb. Does anybody really want to watch Chris Jericho wrestle Minoru Suzuki? Again, when you talk about this Forbidden Door show, you keep seeing the same people over and over and over again. Ishii, Suzuki, Tanahashi, Okada, Naito. There was a different one last year because there was a different champion. Sonata was champion last year. But it's been mostly the same people. New Japan has been featuring on every one of these Forbidden Door shows. I don't understand why these guys think that somebody like Minoru Suzuki must be on. The guy's like 78 years old or something like that. He's about as old as Jim Ross, my God. Enough. This dude was a fucking king of pancrase or something like that. That shit was from like the 80s, man. Like, this dude is old as fuck. I know Jericho was old, but my God. Have mercy, Jesus. You can't find any young guys in Japan that's over and, that you could, but these people to work with? Lord have mercy. It's always the same old fucks. I thought Tony Khan was a booker. I thought he was a guy who looks at talent and tries to elevate talent. Beating Minoru Suzuki does nothing for Chris Jericho. Now, if you want to give Jericho an older opponent because you don't want him to beat none of the young guys, you can still find somebody better and younger than Minoru Suzuki, for God's sake. Just, how many people are going to have to watch waddle around this ring? All these physically feeble people. Jericho, Suzuki, Tanahashi, Naito, Moxley, all these people are fucking feeble. Most of them are going at half speed all the time anyway. Come on, man. Next. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kyle O'Reilly put me to sleep. Who gives a fuck? This show was mid. Super mid. I know a lot of people like Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know. You don't have any taste. I'm just going to say that straight up. He's more boring than Will Ospreay. I think they're from the same country. They might as well be brothers as far as I'm concerned. They're brothers in boredom. I don't like these guys. I don't like that. Zack Sabre Jr. All right, let's get into Forbidden Door because I have to be fair and do a prediction show or preview for a show I don't even want to watch. All right, let's get into this thing. Match 1, TNT Championship ladder match. Is that Lio Rush? Lio Rush, Jack Perry, Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, and an empty space. I have no idea who that empty space will be. Probably going to be somebody from Japan who is not going to win, and it's not going to matter. I do believe that Jack Perry is likely to win this match. He's the only one that got any kind of story going in. Takeshita is the best wrestler, has the most charisma without being able to talk. Lio Rush, I just think it's only a matter of time before he, either goes through one of his cycles and he's, wandering off into the sunset. Otherwise, I would suggest him, but I don't think so. We're just going to go ahead and go either Jack Perry or Takeshita. If it were me booking it, Jack Perry wouldn't even be employed. If we'd be talking about Takeshita, he just won it in a singles match or something like that. So I'm going to go with Takeshita, knowing that he's probably not going to win. Match 2, Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. Oh, God. Put a bullet in me now. 2 people I don't care for. Put a bullet in me right now. Put it in with your fingers. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Match 3, Owen Hart Foundation tournament match. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. This would probably be the best match on the show. Without a shadow of a doubt. Shingo Takagi is an absolutely tremendous professional wrestler. And he's a perfect opponent for Bryan Danielson, especially as Danielson is wrapping up his career. I'm going to go with Danielson winning because clearly he's going to win. It's not like Shingo's going to come back and start working more dates for AEW. I mean, how obvious could that be? How super obvious could that be? Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's Championship. I think it's obvious that Toni Storm is going to win. Mina Shirakawa has been showing a little of a mean streak. Oh, I forgot she's the Artist of Stardom champion. I don't know what does that rank in terms of championship in Stardom? Is that the top title? Is that the 3rd title? 4th? I don't know. But Mina Shirakawa is, a talented young lady. I actually don't hate her. In terms of all the Japanese girls that's been floating around, her and Shida have actually impressed me. In AEW, I should say. Of all the Japanese girls they had running around AEW, Mina Shirakawa is actually entertaining. Toni Storm's going to win this match, though, as she should. And I still expect Mariah May to win the Women's Owen Cup. And it's to be Toni and Mariah and Wembley. I fully expect that. If he's a halfway decent matchmaker and storyteller, that's where you go. You go with Toni versus Mariah May at Wembley. On the other side, you got Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. Title versus title. The New Japan Strong Women's Championship versus the TBS Championship of AEW. I think it's pretty clear. It's clear as crystal, as clear as glass that Mercedes Moné is going to win this match. I've heard that Stephanie Vaquer had been under contract in AEW for quite some time, but also I heard that about a bunch of other people who never made an appearance. I heard that about Camille. I've heard that about Megan Bain. Speaking of Megan Bain, since I said that name, every time I see a picture of her, she has the same facial expression. I wonder if she smiles, if she cries, does she actually, she looks like a picture. It's like something like everything around her is photoshopped. Her facial expression is literally the same in every picture I've seen of her. It's like, this is the only face she can do. In any event, I've heard all these people were signed by AEW already. They just weren't doing anything. And I heard that for a while when it comes to Stephanie Vaquer as well. So I don't know how true it is, and clearly I don't care that much. But it seems pretty clear to me that this whole thing is about giving Mercedes her win back and the title that she wasn't supposed to lose in the first place. And they booked this thing where she got the win back like Hulk Hogan. She got, the Ultimate Warrior booking where she got her win back over Willow in a match she wasn't supposed to lose. And she wasn't supposed to lose this title, and now she's going to win the title back. So, poor Stephanie. She's just going to get a little bit of a shine for this, but not much. Next, the IWGP World Heavyweight title, Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley. There's just no way Tetsuya Naito is going to win this title. There's just no way. Unless New Japan pulls every string they got attached to AEW, it's not going to happen. It just is what it is. All right. AEW World Championship. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed one. I missed something, didn't I? Didn't I miss something? Didn't they have MJF versus Hechishiro? Isn't that match already on this card too? Or did I? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong? Or is that... Yeah, that match is on here. Okay. MJF versus Hechicero, I'm sorry. MJF's going to win because Hechicero has... I don't think he's won a single match since he's been on AEW TV. I know a lot of people are acting like they love this guy, but he doesn't ever win. So... you could bring the Vikingos and the Commanders and the Hechicheros and all these guys. You could bring all these guys onto AEW TV and they can impress, quote unquote. But it comes to a point where you just don't expect anything out of them. And I think we're at that point, which is Hechichero guy. And, it is what it is. Now, apparently, the story behind this match is it was supposed to be Roosh versus MJF. But because there are other CMLL talent like Stephanie Vacker on this show, they don't want Roosh on the show, because the Mexicans, boy, do they not get along. Even the guys who don't work for AAA, CMLL is kind of like, yeah, we don't want these guys around. And because they actually have some stroke in these conversations, Tony Khan actually gives them what they want. So Roosh ended up just getting beat on TV, and Hechicero ended up getting a TV match, the pay-per-view match, which makes no sense as far as I'm concerned, but whatever. MJF's clearly going to win. The Learning Tree, Jericho, Big Bill, and To Be Determined versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Is this official? Because it sounded to me like Jericho got challenged by Minoru Suzuki. That's what it sounded like to me. And I'm not sure if that match is happening here or on Dynamite or what. But it's another to be determined. So we don't know what's going on. Random heel number 680. Next, we got the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kazuchika Okada versus the Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okay. Tanahashi just seems to be in this match to take the L. I hate to say, it's just, that's what it feels like to me. He's just in this match to lose because why not? I don't see anything. Young Bucks get their win back. Okada gets to pin Tanahashi. Just seems like instead of defending his title, which he probably should, he's just going to get to beat up on the Acclaim. Okay. Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe versus Willow Nightingale and To Be Determined. Why don't you fill this card, for God's sake? Fill the card. There's so many To Be Determined. What the hell's going on here? Stop it. The main event of the show, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World title. Now, this is actually an interesting one because it can go either way. You could finish the story and have Will Ospreay go ahead and win. Or you could, what might make more sense, and some people have suggested it, that Will Ospreay loses this match but ends up being the wild card in the Owen tournament, and he wins the Owen tournament and then wins the title at Wembley, leaving him and Swerve 1-1 against each other. I don't hate the idea, but I'm not a huge fan of it either. Just using the Owen tournament to rocket Will Ospreay back to the main event. But I like that a lot more than I like the general idea of Swerve just being a transitional champion and losing the belt to Will Ospreay pretty much immediately. I don't necessarily like that. So I'm going to go with, I think Swerve's going to win. Swerve losing, I think there's a 60-40 chance Swerve wins. And we just basically start the whole thing over and they do a rematch later. The limiting factor, however, is that the winner of the Owen Cup gets the championship match at Wembley. Meanwhile, none of the principal people involved, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, or MJF, are in this tournament. Well, it wouldn't make sense for Swerve Strickland to be in the tournament. He's the champion. So, if you have that wild card spot, you could have Swerve lose, and then be the wild card, win the tournament, and then wrestle Will Ospreay in a rematch at Wembley. If that's what you wanted to do. You could also put MJF in the wild card spot. It wouldn't be much of a surprise, and it would seemingly come out of nowhere, but you could do that too. If Tony Khan feels strongly enough that MJF doesn't need to be in the top match, he doesn't need to be in a championship match at the show, he could work it. Then you need to do like a real feud, and he needs to be able to draw off title. And they haven't put together anything yet. And maybe that's what this show is about, is building something off title, or for maybe the international belt or something like that, for MJF and Daniel Garcia. Which, okay, I guess, if you got to have them wrestle somebody, I suppose. But I think it's more than likely the loser of the main event is going to be the wild card, if it's not going to be Hangman Page, So, I mean, that is not a terrible who is it kind of mysterious thing, because I'm already kind of dead set on it being Hangman Page. That's going to be the guy in this tournament. But I can easily see it being Swerve or Will Ospreay, depending on who wins. And I just throw Sammy Guevara out there because that name is I've seen that name thrown around a lot. I would hope it's not Sammy Guevara. I would hope Sammy Guevara, well, he got a new baby. I would say unemployed, but he's got a new baby, so I don't want him to get unemployed. I want him to go find other means of supporting himself. Go work for Ford or something, Sammy. Go build Buicks or something. Go do literally anything else. Pro wrestling is not for you, dog. So I'm going to go with the loser of the main event is going to end up being in the wild card, and I think the loser will likely be Will Ospreay. I think they're going to do the sensible booking decision, have Ospreay lose, probably by some shenanigans. He goes into the tournament, wins the tournament, and ends up as the number one contender for the title at Wembley, and is going to end up having to be the draw for the Wembley show, which is sensible as far as I'm concerned. He's British. The show is in London. Why would you not do that? I know it's obvious, but the obvious thing is the smart thing sometimes. So that's kind of how I see the show. The show is 11 matches thus far. A lot of them are trios matches and tag team matches, which is incredibly tiring. So hopefully a lot of this stuff is demoted to the pre-show, and I don't have to watch it. And I wish they would actually use some more exciting Japanese guys or some exciting Mexican guys. Like, why not use Mystico on this show? I mean, you're using the CMLL guys already. And I know you don't want to put Mystico versus MJF because you want MJF to win, and you don't want to piss off CMLL by, we're going to book Mystico to lose to MJF. Fuck. But, I don't know who else you could get. But Heshicero? You might as well put him up in there with a Japanese dude or something. Again, Hiromu, somebody, But Tony Khan, everybody thinks he's just a great eye for talent. He's a great booker, blah, blah, blah. Look at the people that he has sitting on the bench and look at the people that he's pushing. Some of these people we've never seen before. Stephanie Vacker. People who are not over, nobody really cares about them. Heshicero. There's no real reason for him to wrestle MJF except he got to wrestle somebody at Forbidden Door, for God's sake. So even if you want to say he's a great matchmaker, he's not a good booker or a good writer, but he's a great matchmaker. Like, I don't even believe that. He's not a good judge of talent. He's not even a good judge of talent. So let me know what you guys think. I'm wrapping this thing up. This thing went long enough. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah. We just gone.